Welcome to the U.S. Citizen Prepper channel. Today is Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. My name is Gerard, and I started this site because I believe that there's a lot of news that's important. It's important for us to know what's going on in the world today. It's important so we can take care of ourselves and our families and those people that are around us that are important to us, whoever that they might be. So hopefully I can offer information that you might not have heard yet. Hopefully this information is helpful. You can leave a message and I'll respond. I'll keep everything confidential unless you say otherwise. I believe confidentiality is very important. I work in a field that HIPAA is an absolute must for the people I work with. I say nothing to no one, no matter what. As a person, I believe in fidelity, honor, courage, commitment. I focus on my family, and I'm a strong believer in monogamy. I believe if you always tell the truth, then you don't have to remember what you said because you always said the truth. I currently work in the medical field and I work for an NGO. It's a non-governmental organization, but I work with a great team, a great group of people, and I'm lucky to be there. I have a lot of sources that I rely on. I work with a lot of different people, and I know a lot of people, but I keep their names confidential. I believe that's very important. That way they'll continue to talk with me. I talk with them. I don't give names, and they talk with me. This news is, I'm going to start off with very important. The other day, Russia disclosed that they have a virus, and it's the SARS-CoV virus discovered in Russia in a bat that can affect humans and is resistant to the SARS/COVID-2 vaccines. Watch the news for that. It's very important that we keep up to date on that. Russia's just started to forcefully get more troops from the peoples. You call it a military draft, if you would, or whatever you want to call it. But the conscripts are being sent directly to the front lines. UK says they're going to continue sanctioning Russia, and they say that they sham referendums. I don't know if it was ever possible that we had the UN peacekeepers go in there and look at what they were doing for the vote, because apparently all four areas, states, or whatever you want to call it, all the people said, yeah, we want to be part of Russia now. It's more information will be coming on that. The 300,000 troops that Russia said they needed, a Pentagon press secretary said it just might be reinforcing continuation of their failure. Then Navy Admiral Charles A. Richard, commander of the U.S. Strategic Command, stated Russia and China can escalate to any level of violence they choose in any domain with any instrument of power worldwide. And the slower traditional approaches to escalation don't work anymore. So maybe they will adopt what Hitler believed in, and that's the blitzkrieg or the lightning fast approach. The DoD's nuclear, chemical, and biological defense leader traveled to the United Kingdom. And President Zelensky said that Ukraine has received the advanced air defense systems from the United States. This is what he's publicly stating. This was on a Department of Defense website. According to the leading news organization, the leading democratic country warns of catastrophic consequences if Russia uses nuclear weapons in the Ukraine. Another possible scenario not being discussed is if the plant somehow starts to produce. This is the nuclear power plant in the Soviet Union. One of the things I learned when I was younger and I worked in a nuclear power plant is that a nuclear power plant, one of the byproducts of producing nuclear power in a nuclear power plant, one of the byproducts of uranium is hydrogen. So if somehow the plant starts to produce excessive amounts of hydrogen, it could potentially cause a devastating explosion. And if that happens, you will have a meltdown. And by the time they were able to contain the reactor, that's gonna be felt. The explosion will be felt up to 1,000 miles away. Then you're just gonna have a massive meltdown, and there'll be a lot of people dying from that. No doubt. Some of the power plants in the United States along like the coastlines, there would be significant number of people, as we see in Fukushima in Japan, when that exploded due to a earthquake. They still have significant problems with the radioactive water, and thankfully, there's a lot of heroes that we don't hear about so much in the United States. The guys that went in there to stop the meltdown that died after 10 or 15 minutes from the massive amounts of radiation. They also had robots that started to malfunction after a half hour to an hour of working in that radioactive environment. Then Putin's mobilization is setting off protests around the country. And we're seeing a mass exodus of people. The last news I saw, they said 500,000 people had crossed the border, and with no indication that Russia is going to try to stop that yet. I think it's going to happen. I just don't know when. some of the news that we get out of Russia is some of it's fantastic, and other times we don't get anything. But at the same time, the press secretary for Mr. President said that the conscripts that were managed to get out of the former republic in that area that we've seen the crossing the border, they would be welcome into this country. When we talk about that, we're also talking about in South America, the former socialist enclave that had a problem with their oil production. They said that the president is opening up the correctional facilities and just letting the people go with direction to go to the U.S. So hopefully that will be closely watched by our government. Something I thought about, can this country suddenly handle an influx of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people crossing the border, the northern border, or the southern border, with white Europeans fleeing the catastrophic nuclear fallout of that power plant. If that does in fact explode, there's going to be a lot of people fleeing that area, and they're going to want to get away as quickly as possible with their family. And you understand why we would do this. I would do the same thing. If the power plant suddenly exploded, I would want to get away as quickly as possible. One of the politicians in this country, RP, warned about an inevitable collapse of the economy, which is scary because we're seeing countries in Europe, they're just getting over the queen dying, and they're suddenly saying significant problem. They stopped all mortgages. Their currency, which is called the pound, is almost on par with the U.S. dollar, which is incredible because I can remember years ago, it used to be a pound used to be almost $3. So for that to collapse like that, there's significant things going on that a lot of people are going to be worried about that. And it's doing a significant problem with our 401k or retirement funds. So unfortunately, a lot of people who thought they were going to be able to retire, I don't think they're going to be able to retire if the economy goes to the crapper. And we're seeing a major downturn in the housing market. FBI operations, they have 6,000 arrests for all types of various crimes, which is pretty amazing that and that is from the end of May to the end of August, beginning of September. Another thing I just want to mention, back to the COVID thing I mentioned at the beginning, is our leader may have been given misinformation, and I'm sure he didn't intend on misspeaking. However, the symptoms of COVID-19, if you start experiencing any of these symptoms, please get it checked out. One, so you don't have it and suffer the ill effects, or two or three, you don't pass it on to your family or coworkers. Some of the symptoms are you get the fevers or the chills. You have a strange cough that you haven't had before. Shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, fatigue, unexplained fatigue. You have muscle aches and body aches, headache. You suddenly have a change in your ability to taste or smell certain foods. Say foods that you have all the time, or like Thanksgiving is coming up. It's hard to believe on Saturday we're going to be in October, so we're getting ready for the holidays. But think about it: if suddenly you can't smell these things that you're used to smelling, get that checked out, please. We don't want anything to happen to you. You suddenly get like a sore throat, lung congestion, runny nose, vomiting, unexplained diarrhea. Please, if you feel ill, stay home. Stay home. We'd rather have you be alive and safe than getting sick and dying. We don't want that. Another thing is that I mentioned. Another thing that I'm fascinated about. I don't dwell on it. I don't think there's a conspiracy, but I think it's fascinating, and that's UFOs. There's some pretty good channels out there, and there's a lot of, I think, misinformation, and there's a lot of information that's not being given to us for whatever reason. It's just whatever reason. But the other day, we have 4 different locations over the United States. The same UFO was actually filmed, and they dissected the video, and they were able to say, yeah, this is the same UFO. It was filmed in Pennsylvania, New York, and a couple places in Texas. Thank you for whoever was able to film that craft, that spaceship. But anyways, this is my first video. As I go along, it'll get better and better. It'll be more fluid. As I said, I have a lot of sources, whether it's the economy, medical, UFOs, politics, whatever you want. If you fire a message off to me on my YouTube message board, I'll see if I can't find information about it. Once again, I don't give names out. I believe that's important. I don't do that. I want to thank you for watching it. Hopefully you didn't get too bored. I do hope you have a good day. And thank you very much. And I'm going to try to get on the same time each day because of my work schedule. I'm going to usually have these on after 7 o'clock at night, uh, unless it's an emergency, like someone wants to decide to push the button, and then obviously I'll find a way to get to a phone or get to a computer and post something. Uh, Once again, stay safe and have a good day. Take one last thing. I believe in self care. Uh, I'm a licensed clinician, so I believe in self care. That's one of the big things I believe in. Is take 10 or 15 minutes at least out of your day, some way, somehow, and just take care of yourself. Uh, and it allows you to recharge. Uh, it's better to do it when you're not needed to, like, driving. It's not really good to do it while you're driving because you have to focus on driving and this and that and stuff. You want to be able to do it like you have a workshop at your house, you have a office where you can get away and there's nothing there. You can just sit there for 15 minutes, absolute quiet, and think about nothing. I think it'll be helpful. And we'll get on that down the road. We'll do some mindfulness techniques. I'll just mention it for like 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and maybe it'll be helpful. Thank you.